The years move gently now, slower than before, quieter than the days of youth, yet filled with a depth that younger hearts rarely understand. And maybe, as an older believer, you have wondered why God still has you here, still waking you up in the morning, still giving you breath when so many around you have already gone home. Perhaps you've asked him in the silence, "Lord, is there something left for me to do?" And heaven whispers back that your final years may be the most important of all, not because of strength, not because of accomplishments, but because of the quiet wisdom you carry, the faith you have lived, the grace you have learned through a lifetime of walking with God. The world needs what only older believers can give, a kind of steady calm that young eyes cannot yet see. And so, before you leave this earth and step into glory prepared for you, God invites you to a sacred task that only your years can accomplish. He invites you to pass on the faith that has carried you through every storm, every blessing, every season of your life. He invites you to plant seeds that will outlive your body and continue bearing fruit long after your footsteps fade. In these final chapters of your journey, you are not finishing your story. You are preparing others to begin theirs. As the days turn soft and gentle around you, something sacred begins to rise in the quiet places of your soul. You feel the weight of time differently now. Every sunrise feels like a whisper from eternity. Every night a reminder that life is precious and numbered, and every moment a gift that should be held like a fragile treasure. You are no longer in the rush you once lived in, chasing responsibilities, chasing achievements, chasing years that seemed endless. Now you live with a deeper understanding, a stillness that has been shaped by journeys walked with God. You know what truly matters. You know what lasts, and you know that the faith within you, this faith shaped by battles, blessings, tears, and triumphs, is something God does not want to end with you. He wants it carried into the hands of those who come after you. He wants your faith to become someone else's strength. He wants your story to become someone else's encouragement. He wants your testimony to become someone else's lifeline, long after you have stepped into his presence. In these quieter years, you begin to hear your heart speaking differently. It no longer asks for more possessions, more recognition, more success. Those things that once seemed important lose their weight. Instead, the soul begins to yearn for something eternal. It longs to make sure that what God has done in your life is not hidden, not forgotten, not buried under the years, but shared like a precious inheritance. The greatest gift you can pass on is not in a will, not in a bank account, not in a piece of property. The greatest gift you can give is a faith that sustained you through loneliness, healed you in seasons of brokenness, held you together when life fell apart, and lifted you when you had no strength left. This faith, your faith, is a legacy heaven wants you to give before you leave this earth. And this legacy will echo long after you step into eternity, because the seeds of faith you plant can grow into oaks of righteousness in the generations to come. And so, in these final chapters of your earthly story, God calls you gently, lovingly, tenderly, not to labor, not to strive, not to carry heavy burdens, but simply to give what he has placed inside you. Your life has been a testimony, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, but always guided by his hand. And now, he invites you to share that testimony with those who walk behind you, because your story contains answers someone desperately needs. Your journey holds wisdom someone has been praying for. Your scars hold healing for someone who feels broken. Your endurance holds hope for someone thinking about giving up. You carry the kind of faith that only time can build, and there is someone in your life right now, whether a child, a grandchild, a neighbor, a church member, or even a stranger, who needs what only you can offer in these sacred years. As you look back, you see moments where God carried you when you could not carry yourself. You remember nights filled with tears, and yet now they are memories filled with his comfort. You see valleys that once frightened you, but now shine with the light of his faithfulness. You see prayers answered in ways you never expected, doors open that you never imagined, and mercies appeared when you least deserved them. These memories were not given to you to keep hidden. They were given to be shared, passed down, spoken gently into the hearts of those who walk a world that grows louder, colder, and more confusing every day. Your voice, steady, seasoned, calm, may be the very voice that helps guide a younger generation back to God. And in these final years, that voice becomes more precious, not less. The world today often forgets the value of age. But God does not. Heaven honors the years you carry. Heaven respects the miles you have walked. Heaven treasures the wisdom etched into your soul. Younger eyes may overlook it, but God sees it clearly. He sees what the years have shaped in you, the quiet strength, the deeper peace, the seasoned faith. And now, He invites you to pour this faith into the lives of those who still have many years ahead. You are not at the end. You are at the place where your faith can do the greatest good. Chapter owing in the soft stillness of your later years. There comes a moment when you begin to understand life with a clarity you never had before. You look around and see how fragile time really is, how quickly seasons pass, how suddenly youth fades, and how gently God teaches lessons that only age can comprehend. You realize that the things that once troubled you no longer hold the same power, and the things that once seemed important now appear small in the light of eternity. And in this tenderness of heart, you begin to hear the gentle urging of the Spirit calling you to a deeper purpose. Not a purpose of labor or striving, but a purpose of giving, of pouring out, of handing to others what God has poured into you over the years. You understand now that the most important work you will ever do may not happen in your strongest years, but in your final ones. Because when the body slows, the soul speaks louder. When earthly strength weakens, spiritual strength deepens. When days become fewer, purpose becomes clearer. And in this season, God invites you to look at the years behind you, not with regret, not with sorrow, but with gratitude for what is built within you. Every chapter of your life has taught you something about God's character. Every storm has shown you something about His faithfulness. Every blessing has revealed His kindness. And now these lessons are meant to become the spiritual inheritance you leave behind. There are people in your life, family, friends, even those who may not fully understand faith yet, who are waiting for the wisdom God has placed within you. They may not say out loud, but they need the anchor you've held on to. They need the assurance that God truly does guide, protect, restore, and redeem. They need to hear it from someone who has lived it, not just believed it. And so God whispers to your heart, gently drawing you to share your journey, to pass on the faith that has shaped your soul, to plant seeds that will outlast your life. Chapter 2. As the years continue to unfold, you find yourself looking at the world differently, noticing things that once slipped past your eyes. You see the hurried pace of younger generations, always running, always worrying, always striving for more. You recognize the fear behind their eyes, the uncertainty they carry in a world that seems to shake beneath their feet. And in their rushing, you see the version of yourself you once were, strong, busy, determined, pouring yourself out without always understanding the purpose behind the journey. But now you see with spiritual maturity, with a heart shaped by years in God's presence. You understand that what truly sustains a person is not speed, not strength, not ambition, but a relationship with God who has carried you through every season. You understand that faith is the anchor the younger generation desperately needs, but often does not know how to grasp. And so God calls you to become a steady voice in their lives, a gentle guide, a living example. He calls you to show them what a life anchored in Him looks like, not through lectures, not through demands, but through the quiet testimony of a heart at peace. Your calm can calm them. Your gentleness can teach them. Your stories can guide them. Your prayers can protect them. Your wisdom can shape them. The world bombards them with noise, but your voice, seasoned by time, can cut through that noise with the quiet authority of experience and faith. You have lived through seasons they have not yet faced, and that makes your presence a gift to them. You know what it is to wait on God when answers seem far away. You know what it is to trust Him when circumstances feel impossible. You know what it is to keep walking when your knees shake with fear. These lessons were not given to you only for yourself. They were entrusted to you so you could pass them on. And when you share them, not only do you strengthen others, but you strengthen your own soul. You find renewed meaning in your days. You find joy in knowing God is still using you. You find peace in knowing your life is still bearing fruit. And in these moments, the quiet realization fills your heart that your final years may well be the most impactful years of your entire life. Chapter 3, and then the time comes, not necessarily the end, but the holy season where you recognize that your life's final assignment is not to gather but to give, not to build for yourself but to pour into others, not to chase after more time, but to use the time you have with purpose and love. You begin to see your life as a lantern, shining not just for your own steps, but for those who will walk after you. And God places within you a gentle conviction, a holy invitation, to speak words that matter, to bless those you love, to pray prayers that will continue working long after your voice is silent. You realize that love spoken in these years becomes a seed planted in the hearts of your family. Wisdom shared in these years becomes a compass for those who will navigate life without you one day. Faith demonstrated in these years becomes a memory that will rise in the minds of younger hearts whenever they face their own storms. What you give now becomes an inheritance no one can lose, no economy can take away, no time can erase. You understand that God has not kept you alive accidentally. He has kept you alive purposefully. There are conversations you are meant to have, forgiveness you are meant to offer, prayers you are meant to pray, blessings you are meant to speak. There are hearts you are meant to comfort, hands you are meant to hold, moments you are meant to fill with gentleness and love. And as you offer these things, heaven fills your own heart with peace, the deep, satisfying peace of a life that has fulfilled its calling. You recognize that your story is not ending. It is being passed forward like a torch. And when the day finally comes for you to step into the presence of the God who has loved you all your life, you will go with the assurance that your legacy continues on earth through every life you touched, every prayer you prayed, every word of wisdom you shared. And in that moment, you will hear the voice you have longed for all your life, the voice that has guided you through every season, the voice that has whispered comfort to your soul. You will hear him say that the work you did in your later years was precious to him, valuable to his kingdom, and eternal in its impact. And you will know with perfect clarity that you accomplished what God wanted every older believer to do before leaving earth. You passed on your faith, and it has become a living legacy that will continue shining long after you enter his glory.